We are back, folks. We are back and we are ready to fold and chat. It's been a while since we've done one of these videos and the laundry was just piling and piling and piling on. In fact, it was getting to the point where I was like, I'm just never gonna fold laundry. I'm just gonna like go to the pile and pull out stuff and wear it, as opposed to like taking the pile and folding it. And then I noticed that all of my clothes were wrinkled. Not to say they aren't gonna be wrinkled now, but I wanna get back in the habit. And more than that, I really enjoy doing these videos. Not only do I enjoy like, you know, the company as I do this, and hopefully you are in front of some sort of chore that you've been putting off. If not, you pause and get on over to a chore. We could do this together. Yeah, not only does it give me company while I do it, but I also like really love reading your comments and just like having these discussions in the comment section. So today we're talking about money and financial stress and the power of thought and positive thinking. We're just so wild and woo-woo, but I've been wanting to have this conversation with you guys because I'm really curious to hear your opinions on it. Basically how this all came about in terms of me thinking about this and then me wanting to talk about this is that I was listening to Nick Viall has a podcast, as you guys know. I've been on it a few times, but he does this one where he like just brings on guests and just chats with them unrelated to The Bachelor. And he had on Barbara Corcoran. I think that's her last name. Corcoran. From Shark Tank, who is one of my favorite sharks, if not my favorite shark on Shark Tank. Jeff and I are huge Shark Tank fans. We just love it so much. And I feel like I used to not like her, and now I don't know if it's just because I've watched the show more and gained appreciation for like really what she's doing and what she stands for, or if she's evolved over the years, or whatever the case. She is like definitely my favorite. She's so entertaining, she's so blunt, and I actually think she's like very strategic and smart. Well, obviously not, I think she obviously is because she's very successful, but the way that she like asks questions and what she chooses to invest in on that show is really interesting to me, and I really like her. So I was really excited to see that she was on Nick's podcast, and apparently she's all over TikTok, and which I didn't know. Obviously I'm not on TikTok, but I'm just fascinated by her. So I was really excited to listen to the interview, and it's really fun and she's wacky, and it's a great listen. I will link it down below if I can remember to. Anyhow, they were talking about all sorts of different things in relation to not only Shark Tank, but just to Barbara and Barbara's life and dating, and it was real fun. But then I don't remember exactly how the conversation came about. And I obviously won't do justice in quoting her, so I'm giving you sort of just like a generalized summary of the conversation. So as I heard it and digested it, again, you can listen to it to yourself and, you know, do your takeaways as you hear it. But somehow like talk about financial stress came up, and prior to that she was talking about how she grew up with a mother who was a single mother, I believe, who worked a million jobs and wasn't very wealthy, but worked really hard to support her family and always had a really positive attitude. And Barbara really like took that and ran with it, and, you know, wanted to make something of herself. That again, a poor summary of that. Anyways, so she then goes on later in the story to be talking about some of her first businesses that she invested in, Barbara. And in doing so, I guess she had gotten into a pickle with one of the early on companies where either like they owed money or they just like weren't really doing well. There was something like in terms of financial stress surrounding an early business investment that she had. And then she said that she was talking to her mom and expressing her like anxiety over money, you know? And her mom was like, "Are you worried about money? Like, don't. Like, why are you even stressing about it? Like, you need to put out the positive energy. Stop, like, basically putting this like negative cloud over this idea of money, and you will figure it out. And she goes, then I quickly went on to figure it out, and look at her now. Which again, broad strokes of the conversation and the overall like lesson that she was being given to her mom, or gifted rather from her mom. But that was like sort of the crux of this idea, and my takeaway from it, because I've been feeling, and we've been talking about this, I feel like pretty openly here on this channel, the financial burden and stress and like that weight of the heavy cloud over my shoulders, my home, my life, as I know pretty much everyone, at least in my life, is feeling. And so I'm assuming some of you out there, if not the majority of you are out there, are also feeling. It's a tough time. You know, there's insane inflation, and now there's a writer's strike. I mean, there's a lot going on, and obviously it's very complicated, and obviously this is all just my own personal opinions and my own personal situation, and it's all relative. I'm not here to say like, oh, I'm more stressed than anyone else, or I'm in a worse position than anyone else, because I know that not to be true. I feel very blessed and very grateful. I feel like in the grand scheme of things, I'm doing really well, but you know, relative to my former situations, etc., like I've been feeling the stress. And so I sort of heard that, and it kind of clicked. It was giving me like the power of now, if you've read it, this idea of like, you have to like put out the good energy to get back the good energy. You have to like, you know, stop the negative self-talk to gain like the positive self rewards. You know, I feel like I've been saying you know a lot, which like maybe you don't know. Sorry, that's just me trying to find the words. I'm gonna blame pregnancy brain, but I also just think that's just me generally speaking. So it sort of was giving me like a reminder of the power of now, which I read a long time ago, and I suppose I should revisit. And then just this idea of like, oh, wait a second, does like manifestation work? Does positive self-talk work? Am I blocking good things from coming in because I'm so sort of tuned into this narrative that like I'm screwed essentially, and everything's bad, and I'm stressed, and like money isn't flowing? Like, should I be doing the mantras that seem sometimes from an outside perspective like kind of silly and woo-woo? Like, will that actually work? And I don't have an answer for you, obviously. This is why I'm having the conversation, and I'm looking forward to the comment sections. But since that conversation, and subsequently conversations I've been having with my husband when I'm like trying to figure out like what my next steps are in terms of work and stuff, and obviously the baby is on her way, and so there is sort of a timeline and a limit in terms of my workflow where I know I'm going to take off a certain amount of time, but I do have some time to like, you know, put out or gain some new opportunities, etc. And so I just lost my train of thought. This is only going to get worse as the next few months before the baby comes. Thanks for bearing with me. It just all sort of clicked, and I feel like since I listened to that and had these conversations, similar conversations with my husband, things have been like gaining traction and gaining speed. And is that because I'm feeling more positive and motivated, and so I'm putting out like more emails, more like time devoted to work and opportunities, obviously outside of YouTube, since I've been kind of moving a little slow here on the channel. And with that, I feel like I can see like the goods coming my way. Or am I just like making this all up, and it's just like a random luck of the draw and like timing? You know what I'm saying? Basically, do you believe in manifestation and or like the power of positive thinking, specifically when it comes to finances? I feel like sometimes even just saying that feels very primitive, and it almost feels like insulting to anyone that's struggling. And so I'm certainly not trying to do that. And I hope at this point, I feel like I always have to preface like everything I say because I never want to offend anyone. But I think at this point, if you're here, you guys like understand me. That's not my intention. I'm just wondering, like, generally speaking, do you feel like if you're constantly telling yourself you're either not worthy of the paycheck, or you're like never gonna get that paycheck of your dreams or whatever, that you're never actually gonna get it? Or do you think that has like no bearing on the actual like outcome of your financial success? I'm sort of like on the fence now that I'm saying it out loud. I really do feel like there is a lot to be said about positive manifestation, and maybe not so much in terms of like crystals and all that stuff. Mind you, I do all that stuff and I really enjoy it, and I do think that there's like merit to some of that. But I think the big one here, at least what I'm experiencing in the last couple of weeks, is like it's more about like changing your mindset and like kind of being like, hey, shut up, stop, like just stop already with all this like negative talk and this like hamster wheel of conversation that I keep having with myself about this, and be like, no dude, they're like, you can figure this out. Just like Barbara's mom said, guys, we can figure this out. Like, stop wasting all that like energy and time on the negative thought and start putting your thought and energy into action. Maybe that's what it is. I'm just very curious to hear what you guys think about that. I started reading a book. I thought it was back there, and then I stopped, and it was like it was the book You're a Badass at Making Money. And I really should pick it back up. The first like couple of chapters didn't resonate with me, but I'm wondering if that's because I was just like not ready to receive the information. But maybe it's worth, if you've read it and you really liked it, let me know. Maybe it's worth revisiting as well. But for now, I feel like even just having this conversation out loud and also just changing my mindset, I've seen a really big difference. So is Barbara correct? Is her mom brilliant? Or is it just like, yeah, but like Barbara's also just like a bajillionaire and was like set up for success? But she wasn't. That's the thing, guys. She didn't come from like a super rich family or anything. I don't know. I also feel like money is like so taboo and you're not supposed to be talking about it. And I've said this before, like I feel like it's like so taboo to have like a YouTuber and influencer like talk about any of the stresses about it, because we're supposed to have like this perfect life, but like that's just not the reality. And also like I just can't lie to you, and I'm not gonna like present myself as something I'm not. That's the whole point of, I feel like, my channel at least, but I feel like YouTube in general is like authenticity. So that's the reality, and I feel like there shouldn't be shame behind talking about it, even though there really is. And I've noticed like the more I talk to friends about it, like the more they're like, oh my god, I've been like wanting to have these conversations with people. I just feel like it's like so like you're not supposed to have the conversations, and maybe that comes from the generation above us, the way we were like raised. I don't know. This is just an interesting topic of conversation to open the conversation. And also hopefully it's inspiring to you, even if it's not like about finances for you. Maybe it's just about generally self-talk. I recently did a video talking about, some pregnancy depression and just like general like mood stuff that I've been like kind of going through since I've got pregnant. But I've also obviously been talking about this on my channel for quite some time. We're also in the mental health month, right? May is mental health awareness month, so this is so relevant. But I do think that even just trying to like change your mindset on a daily basis to enhance your mood, generally speaking, seems to also work. So it's just kind of a mix of all that stuff. And don't get me wrong, I'm still lighting the incense, and apparently I just got a text message from my friend that the full moon is on the 5th, on Friday. So to put out all your crystals to charge them, and I will. You know, I'll still do all of that. But also, I think for me, the biggest thing is just like the power of the brain and changing the self-talk. What do you think? I pose this question to you, my friends. I can't wait to read your comments. Also, just generally speaking, your comments and suggestions on everything in the last couple of weeks in terms of like baby questions have just been so fun, and I'm really enjoying it. I know my schedule is off. This week we only did twice a week. I am slowing the F down and also taking on some outside gigs, but I'm still here. If there's anything specific that you guys want to see coming up, I don't know if you followed me on Instagram, but I am in a movie, a very small role, but I am in a movie that comes out next week. It's Charlie Day's new movie. Oh my god, there's like blanket all over half of these. We have this one blanket in our house that's like green. We've had it so long and it's like super fuzzy, and it like always defuzzes. And every time I'm like, well, maybe this time I don't have to wash it by itself. Maybe this is the time I can wash it with like napkins. Big deal. Like there's no chance of it getting on the napkins. And you know, without a doubt, years later, still all over the napkin. But I love that blanket, and I'm just like not really willing to let it go, even though I probably should. Anyways, I'm going to the movie premiere next week, and I don't have anything to wear. Shocker. I like had rented some stuff, but I rented from Newly before I knew that there was going to be a premiere. So I'm very unprepared. I don't really want to spend money. If you guys have been following my fashion journey, she's so fashionable, clearly. I've just been renting stuff. I don't like to purchase anymore. One, I don't have space. Two, it gets expensive. And at least with like renting, I know like what I'm spending each month. It helps me budget, and I get to get new clothes all the time. Specifically during this pregnancy, it's really nice because I don't have to buy maternity clothes. But I do, I guess in theory I could do Rent the Runway, but I haven't had much luck on Rent the Runway, and my next Newly isn't due for like another couple weeks, so it just doesn't time out very well. So I might actually go into store. I have a gift card for Nordstrom, so I'm thinking to go to Nordstrom and use a gift card on that. So do you guys want to go shopping, virtually shopping with me? Let me know. I thought that would be kind of fun to do. Also, if you see anything online at Nordstrom, please send me the link. I'm kind of at a loss as to what to wear. I'm thinking of maybe getting something that's not maternity, but it's just stretchy. We'll see. It's not the end of the world if I have to like squeeze into something else that I have already. It's just like I don't feel like I actually have anything nice enough that does fit. So any suggestions would be welcomed and appreciated. Look at that, y'all. We did it. We actually folded our laundry. How do you feel about it, girl? Thumbs up? She's just ready for her DINNER. If I say it out loud, she will pounce on me. And that's the truth. I love you guys so very much. I will, maybe I'll vlog tomorrow. We'll see. You never know now on this channel. It's just a toss-up. But what you do know is that I'm really working on positive thinking and trying to bring abundance in by providing it outward. Bringing it inwardly by giving it outwardly, energetically. I'm bringing it in innerly. No. You get the point. I'm working on it. Namaste. See you guys next time.